Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Amanda, and I'll be your host. This afternoon, we also have Sarah Beth and Heather with us today, and they will be managing the questions. If you will, please go ahead and share what chapter you're with so we can test that and make sure the question feature is working correctly. Please feel free to ask questions as we go. I will try to share some questions and answers at the end. Just a few things to keep in mind. This is a general Vault webinar. If you have specific questions about how your chapter does something specific to your organization, please reach out to your appropriate support email. Also, I want to point out our Get Help section. This is a place where you can search articles in our knowledge base to assist you with navigating and using Vault. You simply search for keywords and articles matching those keywords will populate. So now I'd like to introduce who OmegaFi is. For more than 30 years, OmegaFi has provided technology solutions to help customers manage their finances, streamline their operations, recruit new members, and communicate with their members. We are based out of Columbus, Georgia. We securely process more than 1.1 million per day for our clients and have securely processed more than 4 billion since 1992. We're also deeply committed to serving, promoting, and advancing the fraternity and sorority experience. We are passionate about what we do, and it's this passion that has encouraged our clients to trust us to do the heavy lifting so that they can focus on their mission and having fun. So whether you are a newly elected officer or a seasoned officer, our goal today is to help you start off your spring semester on the right foot. So first we're going to look at the officers and to make sure that they're updated. So you'll go to the chapter menu and under the officers section. So if you receive this notification that you need to request administrative rights, you can click here on this red button and it will show you who you need to contact. This shows me that these are the previous officers that did not give the new officer appropriate Vault access before they left office. So if this happens to you, you will need to contact the OmegaFi office. You can call 800-276-6342, or you can text 706-256-8521, and we can give you the appropriate Vault access in just a few minutes so you can do the things that you need to do for your role. So just give me a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds, and I'll get to another account that has the appropriate Vault access. Okay, so now let's look to make sure officers are updated. So we'll go to chapter and then officers. And as you can see, Peter Ballard is the new treasurer, but as we saw, he wasn't given the appropriate Vault access. All of the other officers are correct, but let's update the new member educator. So we'll click here on Edit Officers, and we'll add the new officer. We'll put in when he became or when she became the new officer, and we'll update that. Click OK. Once that's complete, now we need to go in and update the statement contact information. So usually the statement contact is the new treasurer. So we need to go and make sure that Peter Ballard is the statement contact for this account. So we'll go under the billing information and under statement contact information, and we're going to update that information here. And once we put in all of his information, we'll update the statement contact information. So just as a side note, when officers are added, they are automatically given Vault Manage access to the communications menu, but the rest of the menus need to be updated. So Peter was given access to the communications menu, but he was not given access to the rest of the menus. So the previous officer should have given him that access. So we'll need to go do that. Under the gear icon, under Vault Users, we'll go and give him that appropriate access. We'll click on the pencil icon. And since he is the treasurer, he will probably need to be given manage access to all of the menus. So we'll give him manage access to all of the menus. But depending on the type of officer they may not need manage access to every single menu. That is up to your discretion. So say that they don't need manage access to the billing menu. You can choose to give them view only access or no access at all. You can make that decision, and once you decide which permissions they need, you can then go in and click submit, and then they have the appropriate access. If an officer has graduated or has left your chapter for whatever reason and you need to remove their vault access, you will just go in and click on the trash icon, and this will remove their vault access. So once you have given the appropriate vault access and updated user access for vault, you'll then need to go in and give the appropriate access for bill pay. One of the most common misunderstood items is when someone receives manage access to the bill pay menu within Vault. Many people assume they're also given access to all bill pay funds within the bill pay menu. This is not the case. Just because a user has manage access to the bill pay menu does not automatically give them access to the specific bill pay funds. So once you give Vault access, then you'll need to determine who needs global permissions to bill pay. To do that, you'll go to the bill pay menu, and under user access, the user access page lists bill pay users and the permissions for a specific bill pay user. So we've given Peter Ballard manage access to the bill pay menu. So now we'll need to give him access to the bill pay funds. So you can select the plus sign in the top right hand corner to add bill pay access for a current Vault user, or you can also select the trash can icon to remove bill pay access for a current user. And you can click the user's name to see their current bill pay permission. So we're going to click into Peter Ballard. And starting with bill pay global permissions, this will give access to view or enter all bills as well as manage all vendors and cards. So we're going to edit the permissions. And since he is the treasurer, we're going to grant all permissions. But maybe this person only needs to view bills or enter bills. You can say yes to just view bills. You can select whatever user access they may need. But we're going to grant all permissions in this case and click on submit. And then once we do that, then we're going to give access to the appropriate bill pay funds. So we're going to click on the plus sign here, and we're going to go through each bill pay fund, and we're going to grant all permissions to the National Dues and Fees bill pay fund, and then click submit. And then we're going to do it also for the operating fund and grant all permissions, and then click submit. So please note, if you have a National Dues and Fees bill pay fund, you may not have a certain access to that bill pay fund according to your national headquarters requirements. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to your appropriate support team at Omega Phi. So now that we've gone through Vault user access and Bill Pay user access, we're going to move on to how to set up your spring billing. So to begin, we'll click on the Billing tab, and under Statement Details, click on Billing Overview. There are 4 sections on the Billing Overview tab. Under Section 1, there's Billing Cycles. Section 2, there's Scheduled Charges. And then Section 3, there's Billing Options. And Section 4, Billing Summary. The Billing Overview displays scheduled charges for a particular term, so winter, spring, summer, and fall, according to cycle, billing type, transaction description, and account. So the first section, Billing Cycles, displays the cycle's name, again, winter, spring, summer, and fall, the year, the specific cycles, the important dates, and if late fees apply. The bill on date, which is not seen here, you can look at that under billing dates. That is the date that charges assessed to member accounts, and that is the day before the statement date. The bill on date is the charges are pending and they can still be edited. The statement on date is the day statements generate and we mail to members. The due date is the date payment is due, and the late after date is the last day a member can make a payment before their balance ages, and the system assesses a late fee to their account if late fees are turned on. These dates can be seen under the Billing Dates tab, like I mentioned. So you can see all of those dates here as well. Under the Scheduled Charges, this displays a breakdown of the billing cycles by billing group. Each billing group shows a breakdown of charges per description, income account, and the dollar amounts for each cycle. You can click on Edit Charges to add or edit charges for each particular billing group. So you want to make sure each member is assigned to the correct billing group, and you can see how many members are in each billing group by looking here under this Active Members. Billing groups are groups of members with like billing, and each member receives a billing group in accordance with their appropriate billing. Administrators can update billing groups by going to Billing and then Update Billing Groups. And each of the sections highlighted in blue represent a billing group. You can categorize members with like charges into each of these groups, and you can have as many billing groups or as little billing groups as you'd like. One of the things you need to consider is if your scheduled charges are enough to cover your budget for the semester or the year. So under Billing Options, this displays your chapter's current late fee and prepayment discount settings. We recommend late fees as an incentive for on-time payment and prepayment discounts as an incentive for early payment. Please contact your support team if you have questions or to change these settings. Under Billing Summary, this displays a summary of your chapter's billing for the current term by billing group, transaction description, income account. The billing group and transaction description show a further breakdown of charges per cycle. So now we'll move on to the Billing Cycle Setup tool. So again, please note this is a general overview. Some chapters do not have access to this tool, and some have limited access. If you have specific questions regarding your chapter, contact your operations support team. So in order to set up billing, you'll come here and you'll click on, under the billing menu, you'll click on Set Up Billing. And then you'll enter both the term and the year. And since under this account, spring 2023 is already set up, we're going to do summer 2023. And we're going to do our first due date in June. And we're going to do 2 cycles. So then once we set that up, we'll click on Next. And then it's going to make you copy charges from a previous term, and we're just going to select from last summer. So now we can go out here and we can either keep the same charges from last summer, or we can take into consideration that maybe our fees have gone up a little bit and we may need to update some of our charges, or we don't have new members, so we can come out here and edit charges and delete these. We don't need that anymore. And we're just going to add, and we started a savings program. So we're going to do chapter savings, and we're going to do our Omega Phi fee. So that's all we're going to do over the summer. We don't have a lot of fees over the summer. And then the neat thing about this is we can now go in and just copy from that billing group if it's all going to be the same. So we don't have to go in and add that. So now we can just hit save. They're all going to be the same, and the same for our returning members. And we can make sure that all of the charges are correct. And once we're happy with that, we can click on Next. We can look and make sure, review and make sure everything looks okay, our due date, our statement date. And once we're happy with that, we'll click on Save and Complete. To make sure your members are being billed correctly, you want to check the Update Billing Group. So we'll go to Billing and then Update Billing Groups. Again, billing groups are members grouped together that have the same charges. You can update a member to a different billing group as needed under the Update Billing Group tab. So from here, let's just say we're going to move some of these members, returning members, to seniors. So Billy and Dustin are going to be moved to seniors. You can also update members' billing status from the Update Billing Status. So we'll come out here to Update Billing Statuses. This is where you mark a member active or inactive for billing. Their billing status is not the same as their member status. Their member status is what your headquarters has, such as new member, initiate, or alumni. Billing status is if a member is being actively billed or not. They are either active or inactive. If they are inactive, they will not receive new charges automatically. Active means they will receive new charges automatically based on billing group. It's important to note, as long as a member has a balance, we will continue to send them statements even if their billing status is inactive. So let's come out here and look through member status. And you can see that we have 2 alumnus here that have a billing status of active. So they are no longer going to receive scheduled charges, so we need to change them to inactive. So they're inactive and their billing status reason is graduation. They do have a balance, but we will continue to send them statements until they pay that off. and we're going to update their billing status. And you'll receive this little pop-up reminding you that if you haven't updated their member status, you need to go do that. But their member status already shows alumnus, so we don't have to do that. And if you have any questions about this, you can contact Omega Phi, but we also have our help center out here that will help you through that process as well. So next we're going to talk about bill pay. First we will look at registers. All bill pay, fund registers, and officer purchasing cards, both active and inactive, appear on this page. Bill pay funds are listed with the available balance, which includes all processed transactions, pending deposits, pending payments, and pending transfers. You can select a bill pay fund or officer purchasing card to view the register detail. The register detail lists all deposits, transfers, credits, or payments. Balance information is listed at the top of the page, and the date range is editable. You can select the pencil icon next to a payment to view the bill summary and payment history. To edit the bill, select the Bill tab. The invoice number, expense amount, and notes are editable. The bill image and vendor register are viewable as well. And if you need to update or edit any information not editable from the form, you can contact operations support. So moving back to the registers page, you can select Add Fund or Add Card to provide your operations support with the information needed to assist you with setting up a new bill pay fund or ordering a new officer purchasing card. Under the action column, you can select the money icon to initiate a one-time transfer from another bill pay fund, officer purchasing card, or associated external bank account. So please note, officer purchasing cards must be funded from a bill pay fund. So let's move on to the payments section. The payment section is broken down into 4 tabs: outstanding bills, pending payments, scheduled payments, and calendars. The outstanding bills section shows unpaid bills. You can filter the list, select criteria in the drop-down menu at the top of the page. To authorize payment, select the box in the bottom right corner of an outstanding bill. Select the plus or minus sign next to an outstanding bill to expand or collapse the information. Pending payments are listed by fund. Each column is sortable, and you can select criteria in the drop-down menu at the top of the page to filter the list. To authorize any of the payments, select the box under the action column for the pending payment. Scheduled payments are typically recurrent and entered in advance with specific criteria such as vendor, start and end dates, frequency amount, and auto approval. If signature requirements are met and funds are available, scheduled payments are processed at 2 p.m. Eastern each business day. If you need to delete a scheduled payment, select the trash icon. The calendar can provide a monthly, weekly, or daily view of bills and payments and their associated due dates. If you have the print local checks feature enabled, this is where you'll go to print a check after your bill has been entered. So I'm going to show you how you can enter a payment. So we're going to navigate back to the payment section. And from here, we're going to add a bill. We're going to select the vendor. We're going to select the bill amount and the due date. and then we'll select the invoice date. We'll select the expense account that it's coming out of, and then the bill pay fund. And then you can put any instructions that are needed here and any notes related to the bill. And then if you have an image, you can upload the invoice here. Once you input all of your information, you'll click on Submit. And then the bill will show here, and it will also show under Pending. If you're processing the payment locally, you'll navigate back to the Print Local Checks to process the payment. The Print Local Checks section is broken into 3 sections: local checks pending approval, local checks to process, and local checks to print. Local checks pending approval are checks that need additional signatures, such as another officer or an alumni volunteer. Once the signature requirements are met, the check will be moved to local checks to process. If you remember on the add payment section, payment funds are deducted when a payment is submitted for Omega-Fi process payments. However, with local checks, we will not deduct the funds until you submit the check for printing. To do that, there will be a gear icon, and the check will be moved to the local checks to print section. Now you're ready to print a check. You can use any printer you have, but you must have check stock ordered from Omega-Fi. You can contact operations support to place an order. A ream of 500 checks is $45 and 1,000 checks are $60. So to print the check, you would select the print icon and a new screen will pop up for you to print your check. So moving on to transfers. All pending and processed transfers will be listed within the transfers section. To add a transfer, you will select Add, and you can choose one-time transfer or schedule transfer. You'll enter the amount you wish to transfer, where you're transferring from, and then where you're transferring to, and the transfer type. And that would be ACH or a wire, and any applicable notes. A wire transfer can be initiated for same-day credit from a bill pay fund to an external bank account for a cost of $75. ACH transfers do not cost anything, but it can take a day or two to be made available. Transfers between bill pay funds and bill pay funds to officer purchasing cards occur immediately. Under the vendors section, vendors are merchants or individuals who are paid via bill pay. The vendor screen lists all vendors your chapter has ever paid via bill pay. Each column is sortable, and you can filter the list of vendors by selecting criteria in the drop-down menus at the top of the page. To add a new vendor, you'll select Add Vendor, and then you'll enter the information including the vendor register, bills and payments, scheduled payments, vendor files, and vendor profile. So now let's look at officer purchasing cards. The officer purchasing card is Omega-Fi's benefit to use an Omega-Fi's Vault bill pay service. Omega-Fi Officer Purchasing Visa Prepaid Card is a safe and convenient way to make purchases for your chapter. From the Officer Purchasing Card screen, you can view all cards associated with your chapter's bill pay account. You can view the balances on all cards, transfer funds to any active card, select a card from the list to view the card register, add a new card, and view any pending invites. To add a new card, you'll select Add Card. If you're adding the card for yourself, you'll select For Me. and complete the form. If you're adding a new card for another officer or advisor, you'll select for others and complete the form by selecting a name from the pick list and click submit. The person you picked will receive an email invite with details in the program and instructions for enrollment. Each chapter is eligible for one free card, and each additional card ordered costs $10 per month, but is assessed annually in one installment of $120. Having the card will give you quick and secure access to the funds within bill pay. This gives you the ability to load and unload money from your bill pay as needed. This can be used for any sort of transactions at a store or online. There are great benefits to this program to help with controlling spending, as you only have access to the money within that card. However much you load onto that card is how much you can spend. It can also help prevent any sort of potential fraud or theft. Since you can load or unload the money as needed if you ever misplace your card, make sure to log into your Vault account to unload it so it protects your chapter. Every time you use that card, those transactions will then populate within Vault, and you can find that under your alerts on the home page and here in the bell icon. You can also find it under the Review Card Transactions page, under Bill Pay, and then Review Card Transactions. From here, you will be able to update the income or expense category for that specific transaction. You can do this by selecting that transaction and selecting the expense category from the drop-down. When you submit it, it'll update this information in your reporting. So when you check your expenditure reports, it'll show where those funds went. For example, you can update a certain transaction to show that this was for recruitment, or maybe that this was for an officer retreat. That is all for our webinar today. Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you have a great afternoon, and we will have more webinars, so keep a lookout for your emails for future webinars. Have a great afternoon, everyone.